Okay, so for today's lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to take an existing part file and place that part file then into a drawing file and create a multi-view drawing and place some things in there. And this is a particular for the Monopoly game piece design is really what we're focusing on with this project in regards to the title block and the parts list and some of the items that we're going to place in there. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to open up Autodesk Inventor. And by this time, hopefully you have a part file created that you're going to be putting into that drawing file. So as you see here, we do have a part file, a small computer that we're going to be using for the project and printing out. So once you have this completed, what you need to do is go to the application icon, go into New then, and we're going to go into a standard IDW or standard Inventor drawing file. So we're going to open that up. That'll just take a minute to load. And here you see that we have our drawing file or sheet out here. It starts out, the default is a C-size sheet of paper, which is fairly large, and I'll show you how to change that depending on the size of your actual part that you created. So to show you how to change that sheet size, all you really have to do is click over here on sheet 1. We're going to right click on that, and you can see where it says edit sheet. And again, the default is a C size, but we can change that to A or B. And A size is basically an 8.5 by 11 sheet. B size you can see is 11 by 17. C you can see 17 by 20. So depending on the actual size that you drew the actual part, it'll scale it differently depending on what sheet you're putting it in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a C-size sheet. The item that I drew is fairly large, so I think that's going to work out the best in regards to the computer. I drew it to the actual size of a computer. So what we'll do, the first thing that we want to do is we're going to work on our title block right here. So right where it says drawing 1, I want you to right click on that and go into iProperties. Okay, once in iProperties, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Summary tab. We're going to populate this with some information for our title block. First thing is going to be the title. We're going to type in Game Piece Challenge. The subject is going to be your course here. So it's going to be Plastic Tech Block, whatever current block you're in for the course. We're just going to put in 5 now. The manager is going to be your initials. Your company is going to be the same as the subject, so you basically can just copy that and paste that into the company. And that's it for that. So we want to click Apply, and we're going to go over to Project then. And since this is your first drawing file, we're going to put the year down. It's currently 2014, first drawing. So we're going to put -01 for being representing the first drawing of that you ever did drawing file wise. Apply that, we'll close that, and that should populate down here at the bottom. So if you see that, we have Plastic Tech Block 5 Game Piece Challenge. Here's our drawing number, it's 01 with the current year, drawn by, it'll have your name there, whoever was drawing the file and you're logged in as, it should represent that. So that's your title block, that's completed. Next item that we're going to do is we're going to put in a parts list. To go into parts list, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Annotate tab. So I want you to select Annotate, and you're going to see Parts List. I want you to select Parts List, and click this drop down. Locate the actual part file that you used to draw the part here, and we're going to put that in the top right-hand corner of the drawing. I want you to lock it in on the top right corner there. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to double click on that, and a couple things I want you to so a couple things we're going to change here. First thing's going to be the description. So what we're going to put here in the description is ABS, capital ABS, prototype, piece. Okay, part number, I'd like you to change that. For example, I drew a computer, so I'm going to put computer game piece. Okay, and apply those settings. Click OK. Alright, so right now, again, the parts number, we should have that listed as item 1, quantity 1, part number is computer game piece, description ABS prototype piece. Okay, so really the next thing is the most important thing, and that's actually placing the piece in there and getting the views and everything situated. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into place views and go to base. From there, you're going to get a drawing view window that pops up, and I want you to find the actual file, the part file that you created. It's already populating it for me, and I'm going to click on front view. And what you can see when I do this is that since I drew this to actual scale, it is huge. Okay, so what we need to do is change that scale down to probably about a quarter is going to work the best. Okay, so we can change that scale to a quarter, and we want the front view. We're going to drop the front view in, the top view, right side, and we're going to place an isometric view in there as well. Right click, go to create, and it's going to place those views in for me very easily. Next thing we're going to do is double click on the perimeter. You get this red perimeter around this isometric view, and I'm going to shade that. Okay, so you can pick different drawing styles. Initially we had this selected here, which shows you hidden lines. You can also choose no hidden lines for those to be removed, or you can also choose to have the part shaded. Alright, so what we're going to do is click OK here, and it's going to shade that top right hand isometric view for us. Alright, next thing that I'm going to do is dimension this. Okay, so I'm going to go back into annotate, and I'm going to click on dimension, and I'm just going to dimension some overall things like length, width, height, depth, things like that in regards to the part. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in here, get the overall length of the monitor there, the overall height. Just click OK when that pops up. The overall height, we'll select here. Okay, maybe get this side of the screen. Alright, so just going to dimension a few things here. The keyboard, the depth of the actual computer. So just figure out a couple things that you want to dimension on your drawing. Okay, and lay that all out. A couple things, quick things in regards to dimensioning. Make sure when you dimension that you do not put the dimension inside the object. Make sure that it is outside. The nice thing with Inventor is that it does give you kind of guideline placements of your dimensions. You can see how it basically turns to that dotted line when I drag this away from the objects. So that's like a good spot to drop a first dimension. If you're going to put a second dimension, then again you're not going to put that right on top of that particular dimension like you see here. You would drag that out to the next dotted line that it gives you in Inventor, and you can basically do a couple step dimensions and things like that. Alright, so again, just a few items for dimensioning purposes. And again, don't over dimension. For example, if I put the height over here, I'm not going to put it on the right side view, indicate what the height is on this one. Alright, so now that that's completed, the last thing I'd like you to do is place some text in there that represents what scale that you drew this at. So if you remember, when I placed my views in here, I put it at a quarter scale. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in game piece, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight that, underline that, change the size in here so we can change that a little bit. And what I'm going to do here then is I'm going to put printed scale is at a fourth here. That's basically we're putting this, we draw it to full scale obviously, and what we're going to print this out is basically going to be the quarter of the scale when we place those views in there. So we're going to indicate that. And I'm also going to go through, I'll select all this text here, and I'm going to center that and click OK. Alright, and if I press escape, I should be able to move that where I'd like it. And if you don't like the size of it, just double click back in there. If you wanted to change some things in regards to the size of the text, you could do that. Okay, so again, you could change that around. Alright, so now that that's done, what you want to do is make sure you save this. Okay, so go File, and you can go into Save As here, and save it in your student drive. Make sure you have a 3D print folder that you can save that in there. Okay, so you'd want to go ahead and save that. Then the next thing is, once it's saved, is you want to print this out. So to print it, a couple important things with printing. You're going to go to the application icon again here. You're going to go to Print. Okay, load up whatever printer that you'd be working with. All right. Again, it depends on which room you're in. Okay, so use whatever printer you're working on in that particular room. Right now, I'm just going to be using the copier printer here. And the major thing that you want to do is click on Best Fit. Okay, Best Fit's going to take that C-size sheet of paper, if you remember when you originally drew it in there, and it's basically going to print this out, scale it down so it fits on an 8.5 by 11. Alright, preview it. It'll show you again what it's going to look like on that 8.5 by 11, so it looks like everything's going to fit. We have all of our views. Title block looks good. Alright, parts list looks good. We have what we scaled it down, we placed it on here, that looks good. So basically, next thing you need to do is click on Print and print your copy out. Alright, so that's really it for placing a part file into a drawing file in regards to the Game Piece Challenge. Thanks for watching.